You know that feeling when your alarm goes off Monday morning and your stomach just drops? Not because you're tired, because you already know exactly how the day is going to go. The same commute, the same desk, the same tasks, and somewhere in the back of your mind, this quiet voice asking, "Is this really it?" I know that voice. I lived with that voice for years. And here's the thing nobody talks about. It's not that the job is terrible. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes the people are decent. But there's this invisible ceiling pressing down on you every single day. You work harder, you give more hours, you sacrifice weekends, holidays, time with people you love. And at the end of the month, the same number hits your bank account. The same number it hit last month. The same number it will hit next month, no matter how much of yourself you pour in. That's not a career problem, that's a math problem. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how I solved it. But before I go deep into the system itself, I want to be honest with you about something first. Because there are people watching this who this is genuinely built for, and there are people who this is not going to be the right fit for right now. And I'll explain that difference as we go. Pay attention to that part. Now let me paint you a real picture of what trading your time for money actually looks like over a lifetime. You wake up, you perform, you get paid, you sleep, you wake up again. That cycle repeats roughly 250 working days a year. And the moment you stop performing, the moment you get sick, injured, burned out, laid off, the money stops. It just stops. Like someone flipped a switch. Everything you built, every relationship you sacrificed, every late night you pushed through, all of it was contingent on one thing: your physical presence and your continued ability to show up and deliver. That's terrifying when you actually sit with it. I sat with it one evening after a genuinely brutal week. I remember staring at my bank account, watching the balance crawl back up after bills, and realizing that I was one bad month away from real trouble. One medical issue, one layoff notice, one unexpected expense, and the entire structure I'd built my life around would collapse. That was the moment everything changed for me. I started researching obsessively. Not get-rich-quick schemes, not lottery fantasies, real, boring, systematic ways that money could work independently of my hours. And the deeper I went, the more I started understanding something that genuinely shifted my entire worldview. Wealthy people don't earn more, they earn differently. Let me say that again because it's the whole thing. It's not about the size of the paycheck. It's about the architecture of how income flows. Most people have one pipe, one source, one stream, and they protect that pipe like their life depends on it because it does. But people who achieve real financial freedom build multiple pipes. And here's the beautiful part. Once those pipes are built, they flow whether you're awake or asleep. That's passive income. And I know you've heard the term. I know it probably sounds like a buzzword by now. But strip away all the hype and here's the actual simple definition. Passive income is money that continues to arrive after the initial work is done. You do the work once, or you make a strategic investment once, and the returns compound over time without requiring your daily presence. Now, the most common question I get about this, and I mean the very first thing people ask is, doesn't passive income require a lot of money to start? And the honest answer is that some approaches do. Others require almost nothing except time and knowledge. The real currency in passive income isn't money, it's understanding. It's knowing which systems work, which are worth your energy, and how to sequence them so that each layer you build supports the next one. This is where most people get stuck. Not because they're not smart enough, not because they don't work hard enough, but because they were never shown the actual map. And this is exactly the reason we put together a program that you can find linked down below in the video description. Right now, today. Because I genuinely believe the people who are watching this and actually feeling what I'm saying are ready for this. Don't overthink it. Don't let the hesitation you feel be the thing that keeps you exactly where you are 6 months from now. You either move towards something different, or you stay. That's the only real choice here. Now let me walk you through the actual systems I built because this is the part that matters most. The first thing I learned was that building passive income is a layering game. You don't build one massive system and retire. You build small, then build again on top of it, and then again. Each layer gives you more breathing room, more confidence, more capacity to build the next layer. The very first system I built was content-based. I created something once, a piece of content that explained something I already knew well, and that piece of content started generating small but real income while I was doing other things. Not thousands, not at first, but it was money I didn't have to show up to earn. And that feeling, that first moment when you see money arrive in your account and you didn't trade a single hour for it, is one of the most visceral, emotional experiences I've had in my adult life. I remember sitting at my kitchen table and just going silent for a second. Because it was proof. Physical, numerical, undeniable proof that the old model wasn't the only model, that there was another way. From there I built a second layer, then a third. And here's what happens when you have multiple passive streams running simultaneously. Your relationship with money fundamentally transforms. You stop making decisions from fear. You stop tolerating situations that drain you because you feel trapped. You start operating from a place of actual choice. And that shift affects everything: your confidence, your relationships, your health, your creativity, your sense of self-worth. That's not an exaggeration. That's what financial breathing room actually feels like from the inside. Now I want to talk about the cost of waiting, because this is where I see people get it most wrong. They watch something like this, they feel it, they see themselves in it, they get close to the edge of a decision, and then they pull back. And they tell themselves they'll figure it out later. They'll start when they have more time, when they have more money saved up, when things settle down. And I want to say this as directly and as honestly as I can. Things don't settle down. Time doesn't open up. The conditions for starting never magically appear. Every single month that passes without a passive system in place is a month where you traded irreplaceable hours of your life for a fixed number. Every month is a cost, not just financially, in stress, in options, in what your life could look like versus what it does look like. The people who built the kind of freedom I'm describing didn't wait for perfect conditions. They started in imperfect conditions and built anyway. I've seen this work for people who started with almost no money. I've seen it work for people who started with no technical skills. I've seen it work for people who were working full-time jobs while building these systems in the margins of their day. Early mornings, late evenings, weekends. What they had in common wasn't perfect timing. It was a decision they stopped unmade. And here's something I want you to honestly ask yourself right now. Not out loud, just internally. What has staying in the current model cost you? Not just financially. What has it cost you in time, in presence, in who you've been for the people around you, in the version of yourself you were always supposed to become? Because that's the real calculation. Not whether you can afford to start, but what you can no longer afford by not starting. The numbers matter here too. So let me make this concrete. If a passive system generates even a modest amount monthly, consistently, without requiring your daily time, what does that represent over a year? Over 5 years? And what does the compounding effect look like when you reinvest and build additional layers on top of it? The gap between someone who starts now and someone who delays by even 6 months is not a small gap. It grows exponentially, and you feel it. There's another thing I want to name clearly. Not everyone is ready for this, and I mean that. If you're looking for a button to press that makes wealth appear without effort, without learning, without any investment of attention and commitment, this isn't for you. What I'm talking about requires real engagement, real willingness to learn something new and apply it, real readiness to prioritize this even when life gets busy. But if you are someone who is genuinely done with the cycle, done with the alarm, the commute, the ceiling, done with the exhaustion of giving everything and still feeling financially fragile, if you're someone who feels that quiet conviction that there is actually another way to build your life, then everything I'm telling you today is directly relevant to you. The passive systems I built didn't happen overnight, but they also didn't require me to become a different person. They required me to learn a new set of skills, apply them with consistency, and trust the compounding nature of systems over time. And now I want to leave you with one final thought before I tell you the most important next step you can take today. The person you are right now, reading this moment, feeling whatever you're feeling, is standing at a fork. One path is the one you already know. You've been walking it for a while. You know exactly where it goes. The other path requires a step. One real, committed, decisive step. You don't have to see the whole road. You just have to take the first step with intention. The program linked in the description below is that step for a lot of people. Not because I want to sell you something, but because I've watched people stay stuck their whole lives waiting for a different outcome, while repeating the same actions. And I refuse to let that be you without at least telling you directly that you don't have to. The information you need, the roadmap, the system, it exists. It's there, right now. Whether you choose to use it is entirely up to you. But the cost of this decision is only going to grow with time, and the best moment to decide was probably a year ago. The second best moment is right now,